Sega, I need you to bring this game back. There are rumors going around right now that Sega might be planning to bring back Virtual Fighter, which I'm gonna be honest, I would be happy about. So let's make sure that this time that you bring this game out, that it's not just a console exclusive. Also make a version where you can get it on Steam because Virtual Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown was fire. I played that to death. But I've played all the Virtual Fighters to death. For a lot of you that don't know, there's two 3D. I'm saying 3D. Well, actually, technically, it's three 3D fighters that are here and dear to my heart. Now, as you know, one of them everybody's saying is a date game because of the last game, and that's Soul Calibur. I used to play the original game, Soul Blade, and then of course all the Calibur games to death. Everybody used to say I was better in those games than in Tekken and everything, and I agree because I love weapon combat and love those games. Another game that I played to death was the Virtual Fighter series. Like when Tekken 1 dropped, everybody was like, "Oh, Tekken." I was like over there on the Virtual Fighter 2 machine getting down on Leon and Shun Di and all that. Like, okay, yeah, yeah. It's not Virtual Fighter. And it's the truth. I was like, I'll look at people going over that Tekken machine. It was like, nah, man, Virtual Fighter. I outplayed Virtual Fighter to death, and I had gotten before the Dreamcast and everything. I had gotten the Sega Saturn, and I would play Virtual Fighter 2, and I played all the Sega properties, Last Bronx, Fighting Vipers, played all their games, and then Sega came out with this crossover game, and Sega was at this time was ahead of the time because they came out with Fighters Megamix. And Fighters Megamix had Virtual Fighter characters. It had a couple of Last Brox characters, not much. A decent amount of Fighting Vipers. It had the Sonic Fighters. It had Pepsi Man, which if y'all don't know about Japan and Pepsi Man, y'all gotta look that up. Just look it up. It is great. It had Pepsi Man, like oh my god, like the characters and everything, and it was great. Now, of course, they had some wacky stuff in it, like the Daytona race car. That I like, no, but you had, but Sega had all these characters, and they threw them in one game. And the reason why I said Sega was ahead of their time was not only they was ahead of this time with designing this game, the whole thing that Mortal Kombat is known for, its towers, actually Sega did it first. In Fighters Megamix, you could choose who you want to fight. Like the first tower was like just the Virtual Fighter people. And then like the second tower was like, hey, you can fight the Fighting Vipers, and then it was like a mixed cast tower and all that, and it was fun. It had you playing the game for days, and I was like, dude, I can't wait for them to do a sequel. Never happened. Never happened. There was a sequel to Fighting Vipers 2. Last Brox never got a sequel. They just focused on Virtual Fighter after this point, which don't get me wrong, I understand. Virtual Fighter was the first, it was their bread and butter. That's why they focused on it. And hearing about the rumors about a new Virtual Fighter game excites me because in the part of those rumors, it's being made by the Yakuza team. and it sounds like they might throw some Yakuza characters in it, which would be cool. Uh, Definitely throw Shenmue in the game. Throw Ryo in the game, please. I need Ryo in a fighting game outside of Shenmue. I think that would be cool. But in the midst of the rumors of like what Sega's plans is, it's not an official announcement. It's still rumors. But in the midst of that, there's this thing called the Super Game. And I'm like, wait, Super Game? And everybody's wondering what the Super Game is. And I'm thinking the Super Game is a new Fighters Megamix. I could be wrong. They might try to do like a Sega World thing with Yakuza and the fighters and all that. But I am hoping, I am really hoping that it is a Fighters Megamix. I've been wanting a sequel to Fighters Megamix since the 90s. I really love the idea of the game. Plus, I know why they did it. They had two characters that were similar but different. You had Akira and you had Bond. And I'm going to be honest, after playing Fighting Vipers, I was more of a Bond fan. Well, he had a Shoto too. He had that double Shoto uppercut. I loved it. Your mother's right. Who's? But anyways, they wanted Akira to fight against Bond because they were similar characters and they wanted to see who's the best. But Fighters Megamix. But I also like man, nostalgia. But I also liked a lot of the ideas they implemented in it. I don't like the wacky ideas, but I understand. They was trying to fill out the roster. They was trying to fill out the roster. They was like, all right, Virtua Fighter, Fighting Vipers, Last Bronx, Sonic Fighters, they Car, a plant. Like, it was crazy how much characters the Virtua Fighter kids. So during the Sega Saturn, they had a Virtua Fighter 2 and they also had a Virtua Fighter Kids version. And they put some of the kids' characters in the game too. I was like, okay, that was unnecessary, but okay. But I am really hoping whatever this Super World game is. Now, granted, everything, and I know if y'all have watched my channel, I don't like speculation. But since these are rumors and all of that, and there's a rumor of a super game, I am hoping that not only we get a new Virtual Fighter game, but potentially, let's get another Fighters Megamix. Like, I would be so down for both because you have a new Virtual Fighter kind of like reboot game with redesigns of the characters and stuff like that, and new characters, and actually trying to tell a story, which that's gonna be interesting because I gave up on Virtual Fighter story since Virtual Fighter 3 TV. Let's us be honest. It was such a game that you played to fight and fight it. I like the characters. Story wise, but a game that did have a story, kind of, was Fighters Megamix. So I'm really looking forward to if this is still if at this point, will Sega actually come through with some of the stuff that you see on this rumors and actually launch a new Virtual Fighter game and potentially this super game, Fighters Megamix, please, Fighters Megamix, please. The super game also come out maybe like a couple of years later with all these characters. Like, to be honest, I would love for Sega to refresh a lot of their characters. Like, dude, they had a lot of IP, a lot of fighting game IP. Like, what a lot of people don't understand was back then, like, yeah, Namco was getting started with Tekken and Soul Calibur, and yes, back then Midway, not NetherRealm Studios. Midway had Mortal Kombat. SNK was in their own league because I also played a lot of SNK games. But back then, boy, I felt like it was Capcom and Sega that was pumping out fighting games left and right. And then, after the 90s, then it switched to, everybody else. So, but man, and me growing up playing all this stuff, I mean, bro, I remember like some of the concepts that you learn in Tekken, I actually learned in Virtua Fighter, because like Virtua Fighter, you had to like figure out how to do like combo juggles, and I was a Jackie Bryant player, so I knew that the kickflip could get me a launch, and then I would either do like the back spinning knuckle into the spin kick for like a quick like 1-2-3 combo, or you could do kickflip and then it's a smash punch and all that. It's stuff like that, and like learning spacing and all that. I learned a lot of 3D fighting concepts. Notice I said 3D fighting concepts from Virtual Fighter. So I am really looking forward to them possibly bringing back the game. Now, only if we can get a certain company, Konami, to bring back my third beloved 3D fighting game, Bloody Roar. Only if we can get Konami to do that. But that's a video for another time. But yeah, so what do y'all think, guys? Are we going to, with the rumors being out there, I know I'll probably be far off on what the super game is, but what do y'all think? For those that do know, or those that don't know and ran out and educated themselves because of this video, or Maximilian talking about Virtual Fighter or whatever, what do you think? SEGA, Virtual Fighter, and this super game. Maybe Fighters Megamix? Let's hope. Let's hope. All right, guys. I hope you like this video. Go ahead and support your boy. Until next time, guys. Peace, love, stay gaming, my friends.